Welcome, everyone. I want to thank those of you watching at home and all of our panelists for joining us for this important conversation today. My name is Sheila E. Esong, and I have the honor of serving as Gifford's Engagement Director. I'm really excited to be here with all of you today, where we're going to be sharing the stage with Senate candidate and former Governor Hickenlooper. We also have some great folks with us today to share the stage with the governor. Gifford's Colorado Gun Owners for Safety Steering Committee member Whitney Tautenhoeft and sportsman and sportswoman for Biden co-chair Eric Washburn. So we're all here today to discuss safe gun ownership in Colorado and why Governor Hickenlooper is the best Senate candidate for gun safety. So, before we jump into that conversation, and I do think it's going to be an exciting one today, I would love to share a little bit more about Governor Hickenlooper with all of you. Governor John Hickenlooper was first elected to governor of Colorado in 2010 after leading Denver as its mayor since 2003. After a very successful tenure as governor, where he led Colorado towards becoming a gun safety state, Governor Hickenlooper decided to run for Senate in order to bring his state's leadership and success to the national stage. So Governor Hickenlooper, thank you so much for being here today. We're really excited to jump into this conversation and hear a lot about, your great ideas for moving Colorado forward. Before we jump into that, though, I'd love to give our other two panelists an opportunity to introduce themselves. So I'll pass it along to Whitney to introduce herself to everyone.
Hi, everyone. My name is Whitney, and I'm currently a high school senior at Fairview in Boulder. I joined the Colorado chapter of Gun Owners for Safety about a year ago. My family has always owned guns. I grew up participating in biathlon, and I still do that. For those of you who don't know, biathlon is a sport. It's a race where you do cross-country skiing and then rifle shooting. So I've done that since I was like 8 years old. It's super fun. And although my family has always owned guns, we never really felt like the NRA necessarily reflected our views as gun owners. And so when I did discover Gun Owners for Safety, that was definitely super exciting to find a group that I thought was more representative of my personal beliefs on gun safety.
Thank you so much, Whitney. Eric, it'd be great if you could introduce yourself to everyone now.
Yeah, happy to, Sheila. Thank you for having me. So I'm a big game hunter. I live up in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. I've got two teenage sons who are both big game hunters. We own about a dozen guns, I guess, all hunting weapons. And politically at the moment, I'm also co-chair of sportsmen and sportswomen for Biden for the presidential campaign.
Awesome. I'm really excited to get into this conversation with everyone. Before we jump into that conversation, though, I do want to show a quick video highlighting some of the great work that we've been doing throughout the country, to be quite frank, right? Gifford's Gun Owners for Safety is now a national coalition. But one of the things that I love to let folks know about is that Colorado was really, one of our first states spearheading this movement. Colorado Gun Owners for Safety has been doing work for the better half of 2 years, and we are really, really excited to be going national in 2020, leading into 2021. We've been doing some great work in Minnesota and in Texas, and this year we expanded to Virginia, Wisconsin, and Michigan. And so I'd love to share some of that work with all of you. We can go ahead and play that video now.
I'm a gun owner, and we're committed to gun safety.
Gun ownership is woven into our history as a country, a fundamental right for generations of people from all backgrounds and political affiliations. Gifford's Gun Owners for Safety unites a community of hunters, sport shooters, and collectors who understand the need for common sense gun laws to help keep us all safe. As gun owners, we value the right to own a gun and also understand our responsibility in ensuring all guns are used and stored properly. It's time to use our voice to push for solutions that will save lives and preserve our rights. We believe the Second Amendment is an important right. We also believe our communities should be safer from gun violence. If you only listen to the corporate gun lobby or partisan politicians, you'd think these two values are at odds. But gun owners from all 50 states are joining together to say that gun rights and gun safety go hand in hand. Responsible gun owners across the country are showing that we're not as divided as we seem.
As a responsible gun owner,
I am committed to gun safety.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us in the fight for gun safety.
Awesome video. It's really, really great to see our gun owners from all around the country coming together to advocate for common sense gun laws. And I think that this work, can be really heavy. And at times we are often required to address heavy subjects and have really difficult conversations. But, the individuals that were in that video, some of the great work that's been done in Colorado really reminds us that there's hope and that, we can get better and we can work towards reducing gun violence in this country and in the great state of Colorado. So it's a great way to kick off our program tonight. If you're watching and you're at home thinking, I'm a common sense gun owner and I want to join the fight to reduce gun violence, please text COURAGE to 34131. Again, you can text COURAGE to 34131. So we have that there for you. All right, so I'm gonna jump into the conversation and gonna start with Governor Hickenlooper. Governor, one of the most notable gun policies you passed during your time in office was universal background checks. Can you talk a little bit about how that policy helped Colorado and how you intend to build upon your gun safety record if elected to the US Senate?
Sure, and Sheila, thank you so much for having me on. I was one of the first people on the scene after the shooting in the Aurora movie theater. And I was one of the 3 people to watch the video of the first video to come out of the crime scene. And it was the most chilling set of images I've ever seen in my life. We went as a purple state and really took on the gun lobby, and we passed universal background checks in 2013. And in the process of doing that, we went and looked at 2012 to see whether, using the federal laws in place, we were getting to 50% of the gun purchases. Did we catch anybody? All the Republicans said crooks aren't stupid. They won't get a background check. It turns out crooks aren't that stupid. And we had in 2012, getting to half the gun purchases, we had 3,000 people that had been convicted of violent felonies who tried to buy a gun, and we stopped them. There were 38 people convicted of homicide who tried to buy a gun, and we stopped them. This is in a state with only 5.8 million people. So clearly universal background checks pass. More than 90% of Coloradans now support it. Nationwide, and all these statistics, more than 50% of the Republicans in this country support universal background checks. So this is a place where, again, we're ready to go on a national level. We passed also limitations on magazine capacities. And I think there are a number of other bills cutting back and cracking down on gun trafficking across state lines. These are common sense measures that don't take away anyone's guns. What they're doing is really making sure that we keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people.
Thank you so much for that. I mean, I think that, unfortunately, sometimes people politicize an issue that doesn't really need to be politicized, right? It seems like we're all in agreement that universal background checks is something that has effectively reduced gun violence. And as you explained in Colorado. And so, it's one of those things that I tout those statistics as well, just to let people know that this is not a divisive issue. Don't listen to the folks out there telling you that it is. So thank you for that, Governor. I'm going to transition a little bit to Whitney. Whitney, what led you to get involved in the gun safety movement at such a young age? And how would you encourage young people to get involved and actively support strong gun safety candidates such as Governor Hickenlooper?
Yeah, so, being a gun owner my whole life pretty much, or living in a gun owning family, my parents instilled at me at a young age, just, sort of the importance of safe storage and safe handling practices. Using a firearm, any firearm could result in death, even, a biathlon rifle. So they definitely made sure to make sure that gun safety was just very tied up in being a gun owner, which I do believe it is. So I grew up feeling a sense of personal responsibility for the lives of others, for being a gun owner, but also promoting gun safety. And so I do feel now that since I am still a gun owner, getting involved with gun violence prevention is, it's a very important part of gun ownership. And I think that more gun owners should get involved because, gun safety, gun ownership, they go hand in hand. And then the other side, being a student, as long as I can remember, since elementary school, I've had to endure active shooter drills in the classroom. I remember my first week of junior year, which was last year, so soon before I joined Colorado Gun Owners for Safety. That very first week of school, in every single class, we practiced like where we were hiding, for lockdown procedures. And I remember being in my physics classroom and having my teacher lift like a giant desk. It was like a lab table, and shove it against the door and be like, this is what I would do, in the case of an actual lockdown. And so, having your first week of school be like practicing how not to be killed is just so, it's so the opposite of what school should be. And I think, going to high school during Parkland, during so many shootings, I've lost track of the number of school shooting scares that have even happened to my own district. It really just made me feel like, it was something I needed to get involved with. And I would encourage any student who might feel helpless or afraid in situations of going to school with the threat of school shootings to get involved with gun violence prevention, because I do think it can be, at least it was for me, a very empowering experience to, feel like, there are actual steps that I can take to help reduce gun violence. There are actual laws that can be passed that I can work towards advocating for that could actually save lives.
Thank you for that. I think you did a really great job of highlighting how this affects, young people very, very directly. I think sometimes with issues like this, you start talking about the, legislation, and you start getting into the weeds, and people sometimes have a hard time connecting their real life to actual legislation. So I think you did a really great job of translating that for folks that may be out there. So thank you. I'm going to transition over to Eric now. Eric, you're a sportsman. So, why does Governor Hickenlooper's platform appeal to you? How do your ideas for a safer Colorado line up with the governor's?
Yeah, thanks, Sheila. Basically, it comes down to balance. As a gun owner, as a hunter, and I know Governor Hickenlooper is a gun owner and a hunter, it's about protecting my Second Amendment rights to go out and buy another shotgun or go out and buy another rifle that I need for hunting purposes, but at the same time, putting in place regulations that I think are common sense and are going to save lives. And I think those are the two questions that I ask, that most hunters ask, is if these policies go into place, can I still buy a rifle? Can I still buy a shotgun? Can I still go hunting? Can I buy those weapons for my kids, and can they go hunting? And if that's the case, then I think hunters approach this with an open mind. And, we've all seen these massacres. We've seen Columbine, we've seen Aurora, we've seen Newtown, we've seen Las Vegas. We understand as hunters and gun owners that we have a responsibility to support responsible gun safety measures. And I think what Governor Hickenlooper's come up with in his plan does just that. And again, it protects my Second Amendment rights, and it allows me to live in a society that I think is just safer for everybody.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I'm going to pivot back over to Governor Hickenlooper, since, last two panelists have addressed you directly. When talking about gun safety, Governor, some people have said that it's at odds, right? You can't support the Second Amendment and common sense gun laws, but like Eric just highlighted, we know that's not necessarily true. So can you speak, about your experience as a supporter of both gun safety laws and the Second Amendment?
Sure, and I think that is one of the great gifts that Gabby Giffords has given with this organization. That recognition that these are not exclusionary. There is nothing about making gun safety, a part of our culture that takes away someone's right to own a firearm. And I think, one of the things that Gabby, when she was down here, I guess about 6 months ago, we got to spend, the better part of a day together. And she asked me at one point, she said, so have you followed the budgets that are used for highway traffic safety, the National Highway Traffic Safety Board? And I said, well, no, I haven't. She goes, well, it's not exactly the same, but roughly the same number of people die on our highways as die from gun, from firearms. And, we spend, I don't know what it was, almost $1 billion a year on highway traffic safety. And we don't have anything that correlates to making sure that we create a culture of gun safety in this country. And I think that's the one thing I really look forward to working towards, is recognizing that, again, this isn't in any way contradictory, to make sure that young people grow up knowing how dangerous guns can be. You know, Whitney was describing the training that she got from her parents. Most of us do get that training from our parents, but lots of people these days haven't. And we just need to make sure that we create an entire culture of gun safety, and we're willing to put resources to it and look at those legislative changes, you know, like cutting down on gun trafficking, you know, selling guns illegally across state lines. We should look at where are those places where we can get maximum benefit from our efforts.
Thank you. And I remember that day vividly. I was in Denver, you know, before everything kind of shut down, before the pandemic kind of took over. So thank you for sharing that moment that you had with the former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, our fearless leader. All right, I'm gonna pivot back over to Whitney. And you know, Whitney, the NRA love to tout the millions of dollars that they spend, right, to protect gun rights, right? They spent about $4 million to get Cory Gardner elected, you know, and, you know, he's kind of done their bidding in the Senate, right? He kind of paid that back to them. So, you know, as a gun owner, you know, as a biathlete, can you talk about how Gardner is not really standing up for gun safety?
Yeah, I mean, I just think one of the most ridiculous things that Cory Gardner would claim is that he is like the politician, or he is the candidate who is fighting for the interests of gun owners, because that's just totally not true. I mean, the vast majority of people say that they want, of gun owners, of NRA members, and just of Americans, say that they support things like universal background checks and red flag laws, and yet Cory Gardner does not support those things. He's actively tried to block them. And so, you know, you can't say that you're the candidate that supports the desires of gun owners if you don't actually listen to what gun owners want. I mean, it's very obvious that, you know, he's just completely beholden to the gun lobby. And on the other hand, someone like Governor Hickenlooper, you know, he's shown that he does have our interests at heart, and he listened to us when we said we wanted universal background checks. And yeah, so I mean, this election obviously is important for a lot of reasons, but I would say to anyone who is still undecided about certain candidates from just the very most local to federal level, that I would really consider, you know, politicians' commitments to gun safety. I'm 17, so I can't vote in this election yet, but for those of you who can, that is definitely a top concern.
You're here.
Thank you. And I mean, I think, you know, you did a great job of just articulating, you know, kind of the misinformation that's out there, right? You know, I think that the NRA don't speak for all gun owners. They don't speak for a majority of gun owners in the United States. And that's kind of why we started this organization, you know, Giffords Gun Owners for Safety. We realized that there were millions of gun owners out there that did not agree with that rhetoric. And we wanted to provide a political home for them. And Colorado really was, you know, one of our first states that took that and ran and was able to see some positive results in the state house. And so I'm excited to continue this work. I want there to be gun owner for safety chapters throughout every state and Washington, D.C. So hopefully, you know, Whitney, next time we do this, we'll have folks from all over the country on there. All right. So Eric, this is for you, right? It's kind of, you know, keeping the theme, right, of the NRA speaking for all gun owners. You work with sportswomen, sportsmen, right? You know, that's a different group of individuals, right? How do you respond to those who say that the NRA speaks for all gun owners?
Yeah, thank you, Sheila. I've spoken to hundreds of hunters, gun owners across the country. And what I've seen really is that in the last 20 years, there's been an evolution of views that have kind of moved away from the standard NRA positions. And I think for me, and I think for a lot of us, it started with Columbine. And, you know, you look at Columbine, you look at Newtown, you look at Aurora, you look at Las Vegas. And I think over the time, you know, hunters have to take hunter safety classes in order to get licenses in most states to hunt. They understand gun safety. They take it very, very seriously. And I think part of that responsibility that hunters have, that gun owners have, is to look across society and say, are we doing enough to prevent gun violence? Are we doing enough to ensure safe storage, common sense use of guns? And I think for most of us, we've concluded that we're not doing enough. And so what I've seen is just a growing openness among hunters and gun owners for these kind of common sense measures that Governor Hickenlooper has in his plan. Again, Whitney got into it. It's red flag laws, it's background checks, it's banning ARs, it's limiting magazine capacity. These are things that aren't going to infringe on the rights of hunters at all. They're not going to impede my ability to pursue my sport. And I think most hunters across the country that I've spoken to feel more and more comfortable about taking those steps, because we all live in this society. Many of us have kids. We want them to be safe.
Precisely right. And I think that, a lot of the issues that, Whitney and Eric and even Governor Hickenlooper brought up, right? These are issues that are not unique to Colorado, right? Like, these are issues that are unique to, folks throughout the country. And, we know that, all of these elections matter. You've got to vote up and down the ticket. And, we've also got to win at the White House too. So we have a presidential debate tonight. Folks were unsure if it was going to happen. We have a debate tonight. And, we posed a question to our gun owners throughout the country. We asked them, what they would ask the presidential candidates if they were able to attend that debate. And so we're going to play a video for all of you so you can hear from our gun owners.
I am pro Second Amendment.
I own guns.
I support common sense gun laws.
I am a gun owner for gun safety.
I'm a former NRA member.
I'm a student.
I'm a veteran, a hunter.
I'm a youth activist.
I am a veteran, a retired airline pilot, and a survivor of gun violence.
I've lost 3 friends to gun suicide in the last 4 years.
As a high schooler, my classmates and I have had to endure active shooter drills that made us afraid to go to the classroom.
Right now, Americans are being asked to trust the intentions of a vast number of people who purchase a weapon without a background check. On average, 17 U.S. veterans commit suicide every day, and 2/3 of veteran suicides are gun suicides.
I'm wondering if Congress sends gun legislation to your desk, will you listen to the will of the American people and responsible gun owners and sign it?
How are you going to ensure that children in America don't have to live in fear of another school shooting?
I am asking if your administration will commit to keeping Americans safer by passing universal background checks. What are you going to do to reduce gun suicides, especially among those who serve?
As president, what will you do to keep guns out of the wrong hands?
We know that a lot of those issues and questions that were brought up in the video, we know that those are issues that John Hickenlooper cares about, right? And what we also know is that a Senate majority with Governor Hickenlooper is going to be crucial to passing legislation that gets sent to the president's desk and hopefully gets signed into law. And so, Governor Hickenlooper, I'd love to toss it back to you so that you can introduce your staffer for the call to action.
Sure, exactly. Well, thank you, Sheila, and I am so grateful to Giffords for their support. We've seen a lot of energy and momentum across the state, and I know that together we're going to be able to beat Cory Gardner and take the Senate control away from Mitch McConnell and finally pass gun safety sensible laws. As I mentioned before, Colorado, well, Eric mentioned that we know the devastation from this national gun violence epidemic. We've been able to bring people together to enact sensible reforms. We took on the gun lobby and the NRA and passed universal background checks. And we also passed the limits, as I said, for magazine capacity and a law to get guns out of the out of the hands of domestic abusers. But while we in Colorado are making progress, Washington's failed us. Cory Gardner has now benefited from over $4 million in spending from the NRA. More is sure to come this year, and his record reflects it. He's opposed closing the boyfriend loophole, the Charleston loophole, the gun show loophole. We might as well call our disastrous gun safety laws the Gardner loophole. And this isn't a partisan issue, as we've heard today. There are so many Republicans and independents who agree that we need to take common sense steps to keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people. And responsible gun owners like those on this call know we need to fix our laws. but Senator Gardner has voted against bipartisan, the Manchin Toomey bill for one, but to expand background checks and require they be done for all guns sold online at gun shows, he's against it. And Colorado in this country deserves better. In the Senate, I will work to do just what we did here in Colorado, bring people together to take action to curb gun violence. Our campaign has rolled out a bold gun safety plan. These are common sense measures to help keep our communities safe while protecting our Second Amendment rights. I encourage everybody to take a look at hickenlooper.com. Too many lives have been lost, and too many communities and families have had to suffer because of the dysfunction of our government and its refusal to keep us safe. With the support of Coloradans, responsible gun owners, and all of you joining us today, we can stop it. By working together, we can take back the Senate. We can change Washington. And in these final days, we need everyone to give it their all. And volunteer and vote, vote, vote. We are, we are determined to make this work together. Was I supposed to introduce? No.
Yeah, I just wanted to give Anna an opportunity if
of course.
To say a few words.
That was my introduction. I apologize. Anna, I am falling down on my task. I apologize. The stage is yours.
All right. Thank you so much for introducing me, Governor Hickenlooper and Sheila. I am so grateful to be taking part in this critical conversation about the need to address the epidemic of gun violence in our country. I only graduated this past May, before which, like Whitney, I spent my school years in constant fear that I, my classmates, or my young siblings would become victims of the same violence that has taken so many other students' lives and imparted grief on so many families in Columbine, in Parkland, in Sandy Hook, and so many more. I was just starting freshman year when a lone gunman killed 12 people in a movie theater in Aurora, 12 minutes away from my high school. During my college years, I received countless heart-stopping active shooter alerts on my phone warning me of a possible gunman. I would immediately text my little sisters to ask how they're doing, and they were justifiably terrified. I remember that their schools closed once out of caution, and they missed a day of learning. This fear is not unique to my family. It is the lived experience of every child in America. And obviously, truancy cannot be the solution to gun violence. Neither is the Republican leadership's suggestion that we arm our teachers with guns. We are all in this fight because the harsh truth is that gun violence is as deadly an epidemic as the coronavirus, where needless deaths occur because essential laws necessary to keep us safe keep getting rejected by Republican leaders who do nothing. Now we have another obstacle to gun safety on the national stage in the form of Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell's Supreme Court packing. Donald Trump and his apathetic Republicans, like Cory Gardner, are rushing through to confirm Amy Coney Barrett, whom the NRA fully announced support of, in a sham and partisan process a majority of Americans disapprove of. Amy Coney Barrett is a gun rights extremist who does not believe in nonpartisan, common sense gun laws. This makes her a huge threat to children, students, shoppers at the supermarket, concert goers, and people who just want to go dancing on a night out. Reclaiming a Democratic Senate has become even more crucial with the impending Republican supermajority on the Supreme Court. As proven by his inspiring record and experience, I trust that Governor Hickenlooper is the best Senate candidate for gun safety because he knows how to set the high standard for leadership, not only for the state of Colorado, but for the United States as a whole. We can only win this election if we work together. We need every one of you to show up and fight for a stronger and more representative democracy. The best way to make a difference in this election is to sign up to phone bank at mobilize.us/Colorado Victory 2020 or email me at anna.matafee@2020victory.com. We need you to help us educate and mobilize voters. Volunteering and making calls is the most empowering way to get involved in the most consequential election of our lives because the people we talk to are twice as likely to vote as those who we do not. And every vote matters if we want to take back the Senate. Even if you can't vote, volunteer. We have 12 days to ensure that we do take back the Senate, as our state is one of the 4 core states necessary to make that happen. If you are alarmed, as we all frankly should be, then use your individual political power to elect leadership that promises us the safe state and country we deserve to live in, to learn in, and to dance in. Do this by voting early and volunteering, and do more than you think you are capable of to make a difference in this election and to elect our future Senator John Hickenlooper, because we know you care. The time is now to take meaningful action. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Anna. Thank you so much for that. I mean, you hit on so many important points, right? Folks need to get out there and they need to vote. This is probably the most important election of our lives. And, when I talk to a lot of people and they don't vote or they're not active, they always say to me, well, no one asked me, or like no one spoke to me directly. The issues don't affect me. And so just like Anna said, like you need to be reaching out to the folks in your network, the folks that go to, your schools, that go to your churches, your synagogues, the folks that live in your neighborhood. And so Whitney mentioned earlier that she's 17 and can't even vote, but look how active she is, right? She's doing her part. So I would really implore all of you to listen to all that great advice from Anna and really, spend the next, 13, 12 days, getting the word out. So at this point, I'm going to pass it along back to Governor Hickenlooper. I didn't know if you wanted to say a few words or share with folks how they can get involved in your campaign.
No, thank you, Sheila. And again, I want to thank the Giffords organization. I want to give a special shout out to Anna. You and Whitney, give us all so much confidence in the future. Sometimes we look around us and say, our generation, my generation, let us get to this precarious state. And yet here you are, so articulate and so poised. It gives me real confidence. I appreciate that. And Eric, it's great to see you. Thank you for your work, not just across this state, but across the country. You bring, a lifetime of experience and common sense to an issue that so often in Washington is a reflection of the absence of common sense. Let me just finish and say, the gun safety is part of this campaign. And the fact that Cory Gardner has received, and with his last filing, over $4 million in support from the NRA and gun manufacturers is a glaring example of why he doesn't really believe that universal background checks should be discussed on the floor of the US Senate. Now, one of the few people that's received more money from the NRA and gun manufacturers would be Mitch McConnell. So between Senator McConnell and Senator Gardner, no wonder we can't get any progress on universal background checks. Our campaign is going to change that. And we need everyone on this call to help in whatever way you can. If you can support, $5 or $10, every penny is gratefully accepted and appreciated. But also, as everyone on this call has said, the phone calls and the volunteering are immeasurably important, probably more important at this point. So you can go on to our website, hickenlooper.com. You can see our gun safety plan spelled out, but you can also go to hickenlooper.com/volunteer. And there will be a pathway where you can sign up and do a few hours in one of our call banks, and we'll see, Colorado's only got 5.6 million people in the entire state. Our goal is to have 10,000 volunteers make 10 million phone calls by election day. And we're getting there. We're actually we're a little teeny bit behind schedule. But I have this overwhelming sense of momentum and that we really well make those calls and make sure that we turn out early and strong and then continue making those calls right up until election day. So again, Sheila, thank you so much for putting this all together and being such a great moderator. Make sure you tell Gabby and Mark Kelly that Robin and I send our very best. Appreciate all that the whole organization has done, and everybody else on this call. Go out there, vote, vote, vote. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Eric, Whitney, Governor Hickenlooper, thank you all for this incredible conversation and for, bringing up some really important and necessary issues, right? That affect, folks that live in Colorado every day, right? Like our goal here is that we want to reduce gun violence. That's what we're working towards. It's not a political issue, right? This is something that, we like to stress at Giffords. If you take anything away from this conversation tonight, it's that, gun safety is on the ballot in November in Colorado and throughout the country, right? 9 out of 10 Americans support universal background checks. That's not controversial. That's overwhelming. But what we do know is that the Senate is controlled by Mitch McConnell and, his allies who time and time again have made it clear that they side with the gun lobby, and they're ignoring the needs of everyday Americans and everyday folks that live in Colorado. Because of these folks, right, because of these few individuals, we don't have the necessary gun laws that we need on a federal level, right? We don't have what we need so that states like Colorado that have strong state level gun laws are, unfortunately, they're still susceptible to high rates of gun violence because there are neighboring states that, maybe don't have those strong state level gun laws like Colorado. And so this is why it's really, really important that folks focus on, the election in the next few weeks, right? We know that we need to use our power at the ballot box. I really would urge all of you to get involved, obviously go out there and elect Governor Hickenlooper, so that we can flip the Senate, right? And we can actually finally pass universal background checks. But, kind of like the governor mentioned, right, there are a million calls, 10 million calls that we need to make. Folks are always asking me, how do I get involved? How do I get involved? Well, you can volunteer to make some of those phone calls. We know you're going to vote, but we need to make sure everybody in your circle also votes, right? There's a really exciting opportunity here in Colorado, and we need everyone to make this happen. And with everyone's help, we know that we'll bring Governor Hickenlooper to the Senate, and we'll put the United States on the road to becoming a gun safety nation. Gun violence prevention, again, is not a controversial issue. This is something that most Americans agree with. So, if you'd like to join us, right, if you'd like to join us in this fight to reduce gun violence, again, I would encourage you to text COURAGE to 34131. Again, text COURAGE to 34131, and make sure you all exercise your right to vote. We need all of you, and we need all of you to push this race, and we need all of you to elect a Governor Hickenlooper so that we can flip the Senate once again. So thank you all for tuning in. This was really fun for me, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.